Hey, party people. Welcome to Watch Me Design a Fashion Collection Part 11. Last week I discussed kind of my design philosophy and approach. Today I want to discuss designing in groups. What is that? Basically, you have all these inspiration pages, right? You've done way more than me, hopefully. And now what you're doing is kind of separating all the different inspiration images and collages that you've done and separating them out and kind of pinpointing a couple of interesting things and designing with them and then developing different groups. In this one, I was really into this image from the Rock and Gems book. You have this outer texture, this granular black texture that also kind of reminds me of truffles, reminds me of shearling, reminds me of pebbles, reminds me of all kinds of things. And then you have this contrasting embedded, like almost like glass roof shingles, tiles, and the contrasting textures and the shapes and everything all smashed together I thought were really cool. And from that, I developed, don't look at that one, I hate this one. These images where you guys know I'm obsessed with pockets. Okay, so I was playing with this idea of the patchwork from the Boro influence, the pockets, which are an ongoing thing for me. And then, taking this kind of idea and turning them into haphazard patchwork pockets kind of group. And right now, I feel like they're a little bit literal, like I need to play with them. I like them as is, but I also feel like they could be a little bit more subtle. So I'm playing with that in this group. Everything still falls under all of my original umbrella concepts, but I'm going to play with these particular concepts in this group. I don't even know what I was thinking there. Don't look at it. And then these notes, those of you who have been following me around, I went to go visit my in-laws for a couple of weeks earlier this month. And so, yeah, like on the plane, I just like to scribble notes and stuff, ideas on what I might do with them, different directions I could explore, corrections I want to make. Like, I don't like this neck anymore, so I'm going to do a regular jewel neck. This group, which is becoming a group I like less and less as time goes on, was inspired by this collage. Don't look at this one. This one, I was kind of like going with the color story, but I don't think I'm going to really do anything with the texture here. But I was going with the collaging I had done very early on here, which I had recolored and rescaled. And I started developing these pieces where I have these sections of rib knit. And then I have these sections where I'm using the black stripes. And I might, there are a lot of options for what these black stripes could turn out to be. Like they could be binding, they could be embroidery, which I don't think so, but probably maybe some other kind of decorative stitching. But I mean, I really like this one. And so it's worth pursuing. I really hate this one. I mean, I don't hate it, but for what I'm trying to do now, I hate it. And this is not working. None of that is working. So this is, but you can see where this is coming from this, and this is one group, again, still under my umbrella concepts. And then these were some of the collaging fun, and I was doing some scribbling on how I could explore these concepts in real life. And then I was taking the Boro and rescaling, and I developed this group. And this one is I love the large scale patching so that it's not actually patching, it's just panels. And then I was incorporating this kind of binding. This actually falls into this category, but this one is my favorite because I've got a big coat. It's got some of the banding, but it's a really traditional shape. And I like that. I don't want it, I've mentioned this before, but I don't want it to look too avant-garde. I do want to retain a sense of everyday wearability. And this one is getting a little bit out there, but I am exploring the idea of aprons and pockets. So you can see that within these separate groups where I'm exploring these concepts more narrowly, they're still playing with the previous concepts. And because of that, you're going to end up with a complete collection that still looks like they all belong together because you have overlapping concepts. You have concepts that fit under the overall umbrella. This group is a little bit different. I'm playing with the mid-weight linen and the rib knit trim, added asymmetrically, but again, I'm adding the giant pockets. I'm adding a little bit of shirring in with these panels to create different shapes. I've decided I don't want these asymmetrical hems, but I want to just straighten that hem out. And again, these pockets that are so big that they border on panels, giant pockets done haphazardly, and then patches so big that they're more like panels. You see how they are separate groups, but they're coming together in one collection. But it really allows you to explore each concept completely. This is a technique that is taught in design schools where you take your inspiration, whether it's the one given to you by a directive or one you have to develop on your own. So you still need to fit your groups under the main umbrella, but you're exploring these different themes. And when you watch a runway show or you look at the entirety of a lookbook of a particular collection, you'll see this. Like, example, you'll see a dress and it'll have like a small flower embroidery on the shoulder. And then a couple of looks down the road, you'll see a dress and it'll be a very similar embroidery, same color, same type of flower, same type of leaves, but much bigger and more elaborate, probably on the same kind of fabric. And then a couple of looks down the line, you'll see that same embroidery may be done kind of small and delicate, just on the breast, on a blouse, okay? And then you might also see entwined in that collection a print that was developed using that same flower, but doing it as a repeating pattern. So you're exploring the print and different ways you can do the print, the repeat, playing with the scale, playing with the different kinds of repeats and the colors and what fabrication you're going to do it on. So in one group, you're exploring that. And then in another group, you're exploring the embroidery itself and how expansive and expressive you can get on one thing, and how it can be a simple, almost monogram style kind of emblem on another piece, but really still sticking true to that floral motif. I've been designing within groups for so long, it was automatic. Like, even as I was doing it, I was kind of designing in the groups as I was getting started, because I'm so used to that way of thinking. And honestly, sometimes when you're in this groove, sometimes you'll just keep plowing in this group and you're just like in here in this zone, like, yes, playing with all the placements and everything. And then another day, and this is another perk of designing in groups, is like, you don't want to look at this shit anymore. What, you've never had those days? Shut up. and you decide I want to be looking at something a little bit more geometric today. And this group is kind of a mishmash. I've got the aprons, I've got the pockets, I've got the multiple pockets. I'm really loving this thing where I have the rib knit trim that is replacing a traditional welt pocket. And then I have the big hand stitching kind of outline of the pocket as opposed to a patch pocket, just like a tiny bit more subtle. Here, I'm really getting more Blusani. Like in this note, I was like, turn this into a short dolman because boxy t-shirt dress, these coats are getting boxier and looser and drapier, boxier tees. I'm really like loosening up on top of incorporating the different elements. I still want to do something with this. So yeah, I'm really exploring, but I'm going to try to, in the next round of sketches. What have I been doing back here? Oh yeah, I was sketching on the plane. I was bored. There's still concepts that I haven't explored yet. And you're kind of like, Zoe, this is part 11. Why are you moving so slowly? Like, you would not be going this slowly in the industry. Absolutely not. Okay. This is part 11, which means, like, I've literally been doing almost everything on screen. Okay. I have done very, very little off camera, which means, with some of the time-lapse stuff from before and like some of the research and printing I've been doing, and of course the stuff I was doing on the plane, like I said, I've probably worked on this design project for less than 20 hours, which is half a work week in the US. Yeah, it would not take 11 weeks for damn sure to get to this stage. In a school setting, in a work setting, never. 20 hours to get to this point with the fabric shopping and everything, that's pretty good, but it would never be half a work week in the working industry because you will never, ever be in a situation where you just get to lock yourself up in a closet and design and work on a new design collection the entire time, because you'll be sketching and doodling in between answering the phone, having conference calls, checking your email because you're really expecting that email from Hong Kong to confirm that it is going to be a 3/8 seam allowance on that hem, checking out the new samples, sending someone to QA the TOP before it all goes to shit, all the other things. That's what it is. It's like, yeah. So this has been 20 hours of work. Research, development, sketching, fabric shopping, narrating all of it. Of course, everything is slower because I'm telling you all the things I'm doing as I'm doing it. That is what is happening right now. So I'm always trying to give you kind of like an industry translation of what is happening. Okay. So yeah, you would be developing and sketching. And after you've gotten more of your fabrics, I'll be editing fabrics and going over them and matching up certain fabrics to specific groups as I'm developing groups. And yeah, you will only get to work on this project like an hour here, an hour there, maybe not like an hour a week like I'm doing right now. But yeah, you'll only get like a minute here and a minute there during the rest of your work week. And school is the same. It's very rare that a student takes one design class a semester, okay? So you're going to have to learn how to juggle designing and developing a new collection while you are going to sewing class and taking your liberal arts credit and going to your apparel manufacturing practices class and, studying for your art history exam. That's how it is. But designing with groups, I know there are a lot of students who are like, I don't like being that rigid. And I can understand that. But this is something that is very common in the industry. And you see it on the runways. You see the physical evidence on the runways, everything from couture all the way down to junior price point, mass market. You see that. You know, you'll go walk into a store. Okay, you can walk into a Lanvin boutique, you can walk into an H&M, and you'll see items that kind of cluster around a theme. Okay, you develop the theme. You think you're going to develop a design concept for one article of clothing? Okay, this is just like me saying you're not going to develop a really great pant pattern and then only use it one season. Oh no, you're going to use that pattern again. Because once you got something that makes someone's butt look good, you're going to run with it. Okay, and you're going to refabricate it and maybe change a pocket a little, but you're going to run with it. So again, like, you're going to develop a cool concept and you're going to apply it in a few different ways to a few different garments, a couple dresses, a couple of blouses, whatever, and see it. Go look at what's the last round of shows? Fall 2017 shows. And look, you'll see like, oh, here she is using this 10-inch long pink fringe. Oh, here she is using it again, but differently. Here she is using it again, differently. Okay? That's generally because they develop those within a group. Like, I love this fringe. Let's play with this fringe. Let's try it on a bunch of bodies. And they're like, oh, I like this one, this one, this one, this one. Let's run with those. And then, of course, they disperse it in the lineup so you don't get tired of looking at fringe for like 6 outfits straight. Even if you kind of feel like it is too rigid for you, I do recommend you try it because it is an industry practice. It's good to get familiar with those practices and, you know, don't knock it till you try it. Anyway, that's designing in groups in a nutshell. As usual, you can watch the entire Watch Me Design a Fashion Collection series. It has its own playlist. If you're looking for more tutorial-based fashion design process videos, they have their own playlist. All the links are in the description box. I will see you in the next video.